Great. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful what? Wednesday. What's today's date? Do we even know? Yeah, June 3rd. Yes, we do. June 3rd, year of our Lord 2026. My Cordaro Jeweler's watch tells me it's 9:10 and change. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America, the greatest country ever. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we will salute today, thanks to our man John Basiliga and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group. It's already Wednesday. We lost them this year, but pay tribute today thanks to John. Like John Krasowskis, Nicholson, late of California, Martin Jomulowski, Sweet Valley, Thomas Murph Melvin, South Scranton, Stanley Perkowski, Kingston, Brian Covey, Watsontown, Dale Croth, Chick-Shinny, the United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who know that government should not be. They made sure they could not be. And if we keep the left out of power, they never shall be. Our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation, not any of these things. Because the founding fathers knew that government power, because of human nature, should only be a necessary evil designed to protect an organized society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution, it ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and even freedom of the press, no matter how they abuse it. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. And aren't they all? Well, great to be with you, gang. Again, just a special note, point of personal privilege here. This morning, funeral services for Timothy Gaynard. He was 44. He was from West Scranton. He was born with his twin brother with spinal muscular atrophy. Parents, Tom Gaynard, Lisa Yanni Gaynard. He graduated from West Scranton High School in 2000. Board of Directors of the Center for Independent Living. Big sports fan. And as they say in his obituary, and it is so true, the kindest, sweetest, most gentle soul anyone could ever meet. Despite a life of disability, a life of limitations, he never uttered a complaint. He will be missed by all who knew him. And, his brother Tommy Tommy Gaynard III had passed a few years ago. Twin brother, suffering from the same and dealing with the same. You know, when you saw me, you say suffering is not the right word. But a life somehow, despite all the odds and everything against them, well lived. In fact, incredibly well lived. And his family is burying him today, 10 a.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral. Yeah, tough stuff. Just, you know, he actually just, you know, he'd be in the wheelchair, didn't have much movement, whatever. But every time you saw Timmy Gaynard or his brother Tommy in the past, or both, you were uplifted. So God bless the Gaynards. God bless the Gaynards. I know Timothy Gaynard's blessed. I know where he is. Pray for us, Timmy. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro. We'll be back. Jefferson Airplane. Murph tells us they appeared on ABC's television show, American Bandstand, this date, 1967, where they performed their hit, Somebody to Love. Bob Cordaro back with you. I'm doing my honey thing in the tea, and I'm still, still thinking about, I'll be thinking about him for a long time, our friend Timothy Gaynard. But in any event, we get our honey from the mulberry bush, and they're up at Hopkins Farm now. Everything you got at the mulberry bush, you could get there. Our friend Mark Mayer, by the way, a couple of things. Mark Mayer says he's watching on the live stream, which I failed to mention so far, is brought to you by our friends at Roach Supply. Roach Supply is the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, celebrating 75 years in business. Why? Because they're the best at what they do. That's why. Nonagenarian and veteran Ron Roach at the helm, 2 generations underneath him working with him. Visit Roach Supply, R-O-C-H-E, roachsupply.com today. Chapman Supply, this is our sister company in Clark Summit. But Mark Mayer, he's watching on the live stream because he was having a problem with Odyssey. So he says you're like a bear at the honey tree licking. Because I am. I don't like to waste any of this honey. Plus, you can't have the honey around. It'll turn in, sticky and all that. So I'm fighting with my mulberry bush honey. but it's always good. It's always good. My man Mark the Shark from Hazleton. Speaking of, because it's his birthday, Anderson Cooper, the incredibly mediocre one, he said there are many forms of patriotism, and telling the truth is one of them. Don't they always say the exact opposite of that which is true? Quite amazing. Oh, Lord. I just don't get it. I'm just, You look at everything they do. And I don't know. By the way, I know this is not new news, but there was a meeting Monday of the 60 Minutes staff. So one of the entitled left-wing lunatics, Scott Pelley, he went after the 60 Minutes executive producer, and they had to fire him. And it's quite amazing. And here, again, it's irony. Just like Anderson Cooper talking about truth. And he works for CNN. Just imagine it. And so Pelley mouths off like an ass, the ass that he is, because they're unhappy, the CBS News staff, the left-wing lunatics among them, that they now can't tell their truth. And they're being told, you've got to do the news. You've got to report the truth. So what Anderson Cooper was actually saying is, I've got to report my truth. Now, my truth comes from a place where fact, truth, and reality are ignored, denied, and reformulated to fit what I already want and my agenda. So Scott Pelley gets fired because they want him to tell the truth again. It's really, these people are astonishing. I don't get it. Like, wouldn't you just wake up? At what point with these people, would they look up, and some have. I could think of a few. At what point would they look up and say, wow, I've been really fooled for years. Like everything that I've been propounding and proposing and supporting has been wrong. Communism doesn't work. Open borders are bad. Coddling criminals and letting them loose is bad. Spending more money than we have as a government or as individuals is bad. There is evil in the world. I mean, just basic concepts that they outright deny. Boys and men should not be allowed in women's locker rooms, bathrooms, or sports because it's unfair. It's uncomfortable. It's wrong. If you have a mental illness or disease or whatever you want to call it, such as gender dysphoria, there are limitations. It doesn't confer upon you rights because you have a problem. You're not entitled to anything because of your problem. Let us hope that people around you have human compassion and express that compassion to you continually and get you through your tough times. But it doesn't give you rights. Rights are not conferred upon you. I put it in the easiest comparison there is. And some may disagree with this, but if I was 6'8", I would have been a power forward in the NBA. But I'm not. I was 5'10". And unfortunately, I say was. I was 5'10", so, you do the best with what you were given, period. I don't have the right to be a NBA power forward. Leah Thomas was 456th ranked swimmer as a man, and the first ranked swimmer as a woman. Well, he doesn't have the right to that. He doesn't have the right to screw everybody beneath him, all the girls who work so hard. It's just crazy. And that's who these nuts are. Yes, somebody had texted in during the morning news. You guys were doing okay until your TDS kicked in and you went off the rails. Yeah, I heard. I'm telling you, you need a sanctuary of sanity after the morning news. Happy to be here. Somebody texted in, Scott Pelley is a highly respected journalist. By who? Who respects him? Left-wing lunatics. He's not respected as a journalist. He isn't a journalist. He's an advocate. His professional journalism doesn't mesh with the new MAGA curious direction that CBS has taken under the direction of Barry Weiss. No. See, you don't even know the difference. That's sad. That's sad. That's truly sad that you're as confused as he is. You're as addled as he is. You're denying truth, fact, and reality. A normal person could not watch 60 Minutes and say that it is a news show. No, it's an advocacy. They've got a point of view, and they're driving it home with every story they do, every story they pick. And now somebody's saying, hey, we've got to get back to news. We've got to get back to bipartisanship. We've got to get back to common sense. And fools like Scott Pelley can't handle it. They can't deal with it. So now we got another left-wing podcast. So what? Dear Lord. 9:32 is the time. That's on my Picardo Jewelers watch. Let's take our break. We'll come back. We've got a Veterans Tribute. We've got the weather. We've got more. And we've got you, if you choose, at 570-883-0098 to call or to text. A story very similar to our own local Uncle Ted. That extra money for the paratroopers. Our Veterans Tribute this day brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. It's Wednesday already. I can't even believe it. 3 amazing bar restaurants. Fun, service, great food, great drinks, the whole package. Great atmosphere on top of all of that. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. It's a reimagined neighborhood institution. The Queen City Tavern, also reimagined downtown Oliphant. John Krasowskis, Major, United States Air Force, retired. We lost him March 10th. He was living in Boron, California. He died at the age of 81. He was raised in Nicholson, graduated from Lackawanna Trail High School and Lehigh University. He retired after serving for 20 years as an engineer in the United States Air Force. He's survived by 3 sisters, 5 brothers, predeceased by his parents and a brother. That his funeral May 29th, or they will have it. They had it May 29th at St. Patrick Church, Nicholson. Career Air Force man John Krasowskis. Martin Jarmulowski. We lost him May 6th at age 83. He was from Sweet Valley. Born in Rice Township, he attended St. Leo's High School and Fairview High School. He served honorably in the U.S. Navy 1963 to 1965. For many years, he worked at Certainteed and Mountaintop. Martin was a man who could always be counted on. Could you say anything better? His quiet generosity and steady presence touched many lives. He enjoyed the open road, the outdoors, time spent with family and friends. He loved sharing stories, laughter. He had a uniquely dry, quirky sense of humor, bringing quiet laughter and unexpected one-liners to the people lucky enough to know him. Martin was a proud member of the American Legion in Mountaintop. He'll be greatly missed by his 3 sons, to whom he imparted that unique sense of humor. He had 3 grandchildren as well, leaving behind 2 brothers and a sister as well. Martin Jarmulowski. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast, brought to you by the gang at Montage Mountain Resorts. Hey, hot weather. Could be time for the water park, guys, huh? Today, mostly sunny, high 86. Now, I heard Snedeker say 80. So let's find out who's right, AccuWeather or Snedeker. Tonight, clear, low 52. Tomorrow, partly sunny, very warm, high 89. That's Thursday, low 57. Friday, mostly sunny and hot, high 91, low 62. They give you caution if you're doing strenuous activities outside. Well, I mean, we're not stupid, AccuWeather. We get it. Anyway, 91 Friday, low 62. Saturday, hot with times of sun and clouds. An afternoon thunderstorm Saturday, high 90 as well. Mostly cloudy, not as warm Sunday. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm possible. High 77, low 59. And that's your weather, brought to you by Montage Mountain, the home of the great water park, right here in Northeast Pennsylvania, right here within sound of my voice. It's 68 degrees at Montage. Murph tells us this date, 1967, The Doors. They debuted on the charts with their first hit single, Light My Fire. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. And now, Gutfeld missed a very important point. If you're gender dysphoric, you can still play, you're a gender dysphoric male, you can still play sports as a man. You're not banned from sports. You can still play sports as a man, as a boy. Okay. That's how you were born? Is that some monster burden? No, you simply can't play as a girl. You can't go in their locker rooms. You can't go in their bathrooms. That's all. And by the way, we're going to be responsible adults instead of sicko, disgusting left-wingers. And you're not going to get to transition until you're an adult and make that decision for yourself. Is that so complicated? Please tell me what I'm missing. Anybody, tell me what I'm missing there. That's not unfair. It's not wrong. It's not anything. It's what is. Somebody texted in. This is nailed it. Good morning and greetings, Bob ALTS. The same person who thinks Scott Pelley is a respected journalist probably believes Morning Joe when he said, "This is the best Joe Biden ever." You remember that fool? I mean, again, it's like you really got to look in the mirror and check yourself. Don't just proceed forward. By the way, growth comes from discomfort. If you're a left-wing lunatic, look in the mirror. If you're voting consistently, because there's Democrats I vote for, but if you're voting consistently for Democrats, regardless of their ideology and capacity, then please tell me, just look in the mirror and start doing something uncomfortable, which is thinking. The best Joe Biden ever. Now, there's a guy. Is he a journalist? He says he is. And by the way, Scott Pelley will go to he'll do the whatever left-wing podcasts there are, and then probably get his own. And you're going to find out how sick he is. You're going to find out how left-wing he is. You'll see. That's what I'm saying. The mask comes off now. And the fake bullspit he was doing and the slant that he was putting on that show will now be exposed. You'll see it. He says the only way these left-wingers can be this crazy is if they're being paid by foreign entities to create chaos and destroy this country. Actually, they are that crazy. That doesn't mean they're not recoverable. By the way, because of our man Mark Mayer, who's got producer credits for a long time now, because of our man Mark Mayer, we were able to play mentally ill Paul Krugman. Now, because he's a left-winger, he's given a Nobel Prize in economics, but he's been wrong about everything in economics since I could remember. And I'm talking since the 90s when I start following and discovered who he was. He's been wrong about everything he predicts, but he's in good standing with the left, so the New York Times keeps employing him. And they treat him like he's normal. It's insanity. But it isn't just foreign countries. It is Chinese money. It is Russian influence. It is Arab money. But it's also George Soros money. It's Singham money. It's Arabella Group money. But that doesn't mean they're not crazy. Because believe me, they are. Oh, Lord. It's just crazy. These are, and I'm telling you, if you think Scott Pelley is some sort of neutral journalist, which is what a journalist is to me, in fact, it is what a journalist is. If you think he's normal, if you don't think he's a left-wing loon, then you better check yourself. Please do, for everybody's sake. I promise you, you'll be better for it. You'll be much better for it. All right. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Coming up on the Bloomberg Money Minute, we'll find out what's happening in the markets this morning. And then we'll be back, as we always are. Now, see, there you go. There's transgender on a much lighter front. Nobody cares. This date, 1970, Murph tells us, the Kings frontman, Dave Davies, he flew 6,000 miles across the Atlantic to New York City to change the lyrics to their song Lola. The line Coca-Cola was changed to Cherry Cola, so it could be played on BBC's non-commercial radio. There's interesting music lore from our man Murph. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. So on the Scott Pelley thing, Bob B., this is a woman marching for Scott Pelley and democracy. She's got a sign. I mean, these people are insane. They really are insane. This is what she's doing with her day. Now, Pinebrook Johnny, who is obviously confused leftist. Now, did I say anything when I mentioned Scott Pelley and Morning Joe about Fox? See, they look for something desperately to grab onto because they know they're wrong. His text, Pinebrook Johnny's text is, Fox News journalists are neutral. Correct. LOL, you're losing it day by day, just like Trump. Who said they were neutral? I can tell you which ones are. And by the way, the ones who aren't neutral are generally correct about everything they believe. That's a separate issue, though. You show me Brett Baer, the best newscast there is. Hour long. It's got a bipartisan panel. It's just a great newscast, 6 to 7 o'clock every night. I watch it every night. There's a neutral Fox News journalist, an actual journalist. So Pinebrook Johnny, what did you get triggered for? I didn't even mention Fox. I'm losing it like Trump? Yeah, well, your TDS has really consumed you. Sorry about that, my man. My God, I thought people from Pinebrook knew what time it was. At least the ones I know do. By the way, Tina Morocco. She's the global sales advisor at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples. And she's your trusted guide for Florida real estate. And she specializes in Southwest Florida. And you can reach her through Sotheby's in Naples or Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. That's her own website, or anywhere on social media under Tina Morocco. My Picardo Jewelers watch says 10 o'clock. Well, I think it's 10 o'clock on all of these watches at Picardo's. Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola. And by the way, they've got a special Longines selection right now. Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova, G-Shock, and another special Ball watches. All at Picardo's. My Picardo Jewelers watch store time. 10 o'clock and change, time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. It is a 10, well, let's be accurate. It's 10:08 on my Ricardo Jewelers watch. This beautiful, what is it, Wednesday? And what's our date? June 3rd already? I can't even keep track of it. Here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga hospitality group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like John Krasowskis, late of California, but he was from Nicholson. Martin Jarmulowski, Sweet Valley. Thomas Murph Melvin, South Scranton. Stanley Perkowski, Kingston. Brian Covey, Watsontown. And Dale Croth, Shikshini. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment, this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you who hearken here. So, Bo Dietl's going to be up at 11:05. I've been watching him, and we played a little clip from his podcast on Mom Dummy, as he calls him. Ridiculous joke. In any event, he'll be on with us at 11:05. Reminder, you could get us on 103.1 FM during this program, 9:10 a.m. up in the Scranton area, 9:80 a.m. down the Wilkes-Barre area. You could get us on WILKNewsRadio.com. And you could also get us on a live stream. You go to YouTube, which my man Mark Mayer was using this morning. YouTube, Bob Cordaro Show, WILK, Bob Cordaro Show. And I've got my all-time great shirt by our man Chris Finazzo with the nice American flag on it. And all of it's brought to you by our friends at Roach Supply, who are the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, celebrating 75 years in business. Just like the great Reeves Awnings Company. You know, you're not in business this long unless you're great at what you do, unless you're fair with everybody, unless you do your level best to take care of people. And that's people like Bacardo's, people like Roach Supply, people like Reeves Awnings. But for Roach Supply bringing you the live stream, it's ROCHE, roachsupply.com. You could also get them at Chapman Supply up in Clark Summit. So I noticed an article. It's by Joe Healy, and it's about the NEPA 30. So I guess they're doing, for the 250th, some things about Northeast Pennsylvania. And they have a story today. I thought it was originally an obituary, but a guy by the name of Fisher, a Wilkes-Barre native who created Joe Palooka, the Adventures of Joe Palooka, and Edward Ham Fisher. Well, the first thing I thought of when I saw it was David DeCosmo, because David is intertwined with this story, and here he is, our man David DeCosmo. March of the Cue Balls by Henry Mancini. Fire away, that's his theme song. And here's David. How are you, David?
Hey, doing just fine, Bob. Thanks very much.
Well, I saw Joe Palooka, and I think of my friend Brian Bewick, who we used to call each other Palooka, and then I think of David DeCosmo second. And I said, get him a call and find out what he's up to.
Well, I thank you very much. And Joe Palooka is one of my favorite subjects. I'm working on a presentation that I'm going to give on Joe Palooka right now. I don't have any of my notes in front of me, but I can right off the cuff tell you a lot of things, including the fact that Joe Palooka was a comic strip character, a boxer, a champion, heavyweight championship boxer, created by Ham Fisher, who was from Wilkes-Barre. And that comic strip led to movies and short TV series, comic books, and an ongoing newspaper comic strip that ended probably in the 80s, was revived temporarily by the Times Leader, but then eventually died away. There's a monument up on Route 309 coming into Wilkes-Barre, and you'll see the name Joe Palooka, the image of Joe Palooka on the monument, and a mention of Ham Fisher. I was one of a committee of 4 that got that monument put in place. Originally, there was a bronze marker somewhat north of where the current one is, and that was stolen sometime around the Agnes flood. I was doing editorial work at the time with a radio station that no longer exists, and I called for the replacement of that monument. And that editorial led the Sunday Independent newspaper to recruit me, Fred Nye, a premier who was a writer there, and 2 other gentlemen, and we raised public funds and put the new monument up. Now, it is situated again a little south of where the original one was, but that's because there's a pullover space there, and it's now a granite memorial, because we felt if we put bronze up again, it would just be taken again. But Bob, I have to tell you that Joe Palooka might very well be one of the veterans that you mention every day and that you honor, although he was only a comic strip character, because during World War II, right before, Ham Fisher had that character, Joe Palooka, enlist, and his enlistment spawned thousands and thousands of enlistments into the Army. And consequently, they even wrote President Roosevelt into the comic strip. Ironically, after we got the monument in place, they wrote the 4 of us who were on the committee into the comic strip. So my impression is on one of the Joe Palooka comic strips. My name is there. Ironically, they couldn't use us in terms of the monument because that wasn't their storyline. So the 4 of us who got the monument in place became judges in a beauty contest in the cartoon strip. One of your predecessors in WILK, Steve Corbett, had launched a campaign to put the monument down in Wilkes-Barre because Ham Fisher was from Wilkes-Barre. I was totally against that. And if anybody goes to look at the monument, I think they'll see why. You see, although it is an impression of Joe Palooka and certainly gives tribute to Ham Fisher, the monument reads Mount Joe Palooka, because way back in probably the 30s or 40s, the Junior Chamber of Commerce named the mountain behind that monument Mount Joe Palooka. So Mount Joe Palooka isn't in downtown Wilkes-Barre, so it will be inappropriate.
Yeah, I get it. Well, it is really neat. I'm confusing things. I'm sure of it. Whatever reason, it pops in my mind something about Topps chewing gum, Joe Palooka. Where would I see this cartoon?
It was in the newspapers. Now, there's a chance, and I do not know this, there's a chance they may have issued Palooka cards at one time. That's a possibility. Okay. Another interesting thing, though, is that Palooka, the character, was based on an actual boxer from the area who I believe was a middleweight champion for one whole year. And several characters in that comic strip were based on local characters. There was a little kid with an oversized coat and a very, very large hat. They called him Little Max, and he was a regular in that comic strip. He was based on the jeweler Max Bardakowski from downtown Wilkes-Barre.
How about that?
Yeah, and the reason for that is that Max Bardakowski, when he was a kid, his dad was friends with Ham Fisher. They would visit, and they would often put a big coat, and I guess Fisher's coat and hat on Bardakowski, and so he wrote him into the comic strip.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, there's a story. It's in the Standard Speaker and the and by the way, my brother Mike is pointing out I may be having the confusion because of Bazooka Joe.
Oh, okay. That may be. That's a separate
in the
character.
bubble gum. Yeah. All right. Well, that actually clarifies things. But Palooka, Joe Palooka. Wow. That's great stuff. And it is funny, David, whenever there's anything unique to this area, somehow you're in the middle of it.
well, well, in this one, I was right smack dab on ground zero in this one. Very, very interesting and a very, very important part of our local history. And, he was honored partially because the character represented strength in terms of a heavyweight boxing champion, represented all that was good. This Palooka character never did anything under the table. Everything was above board, clean cut, and that's why he was sort of the all-American hero, if you will.
Where did the name Palooka come from? I mean, we associate it now from with a big sort of goofy guy. Where'd that come from?
Bozo. Yeah, and that's the way it always was in boxing. It was a term representing sort of a heavy, strong guy that wasn't all that smart upstairs. So they used that term Palooka, although the character was nowhere near being, an idiot. He was, in fact, a very, very smart person. So,
and they turned it around, right? Yeah.
They turned it around. Well, a lot turned around in poor Ham Fisher's life. One of his artists was the man Al Cap, who ultimately went on. Yes, yeah.
Wow.
One of his artists was Al Cap. Al Cap went on to do the other famous comic strip of the Little Abner, but those two guys had a bitter war between them. They hated each other. There was a time when Fisher actually wrote he actually put a fake strip together on the Abner strip, and it was kind of, I guess, got into profanity or something like that, or pornography, and they got sued. And unfortunately, ultimately, in the end of his life, through a lot of depression, Ham Fisher wound up taking his own life.
Oh, Lord.
So it had a sad end to a local guy. But no, a lot of local stories. I'm still developing some more on him. And
well,
I'm so
David,
glad you mentioned. I haven't seen the article today. So
well, you are more than welcome anytime you've got something to say. We're here for you. All right, man.
Okay, Bob. Thanks so much,
David DeCosmo.
I hope all your news is good.
All right, man. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Well, sounds like a lefty to me. Jethro Tull, #1 album, this date, 1972, Murph says. The album was titled Thick as a Brick. This could define pretty much the entire Democrat Party leadership. Maybe thicker. Anyway, a couple of texts. Morning, Bob. Since you played Lola, which we did, Lola by the Kinks, maybe you could play Weird Al Yankovic's version called Yoda. The listeners, I guess Murph would get bent out of shape if you went off script from what he programmed, says Fred Duckman. Fred, we do it often for you, but we probably won't do it today. At least not. And I like Weird Al. I do. I really do. Somebody texted, Bob, I imagine the texter who's critical of Fox has no idea who Mark Levin is. And that's from my backroom student for Common Sense. Yep. Another LTS squared. I like that, LTS squared. I like it a lot. It's as good as ALTS. Tom Homan's a true patriot. Has more brains than all of the protesters and rioters put together. Yep. Somebody correcting me as my brother Mike did. Bob, I believe you're thinking of Bazooka Joe. And that's exactly how the confusion happened. Somebody wants to know what happened with the L.A. mayoral election. Pratt appears to have finished second. But remember what they do in left-wing lunatic states. They make the vote counting difficult because of how long and how late they accept mail-in ballots and other kinds of ballots. So they don't know the winner yet. He appears to have finished second, however. And then on the California election, it looks very much like Steve Hilton's going to be in the running here. Probably against Xavier Becerra, the jackass. Unlikable jackass, by the way. So Pratt may be in it, but we're not going to know for a while because they want to extend the election result and the vote counting so they can cheat, so they can create confusion so nobody's looking over their shoulders. By the way, another Bob, you and DeCosmo should do a story on Sonny Janelle, a Scranton boy who was a #1 contender in the 40s. Rocky Castellani was champion at the time, but Rocky's camp wouldn't accept the fight. Sonny gave me the Ring magazine. He was an incredible man, Joe from 44, it says. Well, David, if you're listening, you should think about that. That's an interesting story. I'd heard of Sonny Janelle before. Obviously, we think immediately of Arcaro and Janelle's. My friend Angelo Janelle down there in Old Forge. But neat. Somebody's impressed with the formation. What's this? The formation on Palooka. It's an interesting story. It is. And here's Bill from Pittston, who has another angle on the Joe Palooka story. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing good. Yeah, my grandmother was the legal guardian of Wendy Fisher, Ham Fisher's daughter, and I can fill in some of those gaps. And you're right about Bazooka Joe. That's the confusion. Yeah. But I can tell you the rivalry between Ham and Al Capp, they hated each other. And Ham really got himself into a lot of trouble going after Al. But he contended, and I don't know what's true, that Al had stolen little Abner from him, and that became a very contentious point.
Okay, that was going to be a question I didn't get to ask David DeCosmo. Why did they have such a rivalry? I mean, sometimes people just don't like each other, but that makes sense.
Well, Al Capp was not liked by anybody. Goldie Hawn told a story back in the 80s how she went to his office to do some modeling or get hired for him for something, and he was a dirty old man, and he'd lost one of his legs, I think, to diabetes, and he was chasing her around the room trying to get her clothes off, and she talked about what a despicable pig he was, and that's the kind of line I heard from our side of the family, but I've read other things about him, that he was not a very good man. Not that Ham was perfect. Ham had a lot of issues too.
Yeah, how about that? That's fascinating. Fascinating. I mean, here's two cartoonists who are bringing mirth to everyone, and they hate each other. I just find that amusing.
Yeah, we had so much memorabilia. For instance, in the 1950s, Ham his circulation was 50 million people with Joe. And Joe actually did go into the Army and did some promotional work. We have pictures of Ham leaning on a piano with Lauren Bacall sitting on the piano and President Truman playing the piano. We have all kinds of stuff that, so I grew up with all the puzzles and the cartoons and the comic books and all the folklore. So,
oh, that's neat. That is really cool. How about that? Well, thank you for that, Bill. We appreciate it, my man. That's a good, a little extra on Palooka Joe and our man, Ham Fisher. Yeah.
I did have a guy call me a couple of years ago, wanted to turn Joe into a cage fighter, and he wanted background information, but I don't know what developed from it.
Oh, Palooka Joe. Yeah, that would make sense for today. Make him a cage fighter. Yeah. MMA. All right, man. Thank you so much. Hey, it's 10:31 on my Ricardo Jewelers Watch. You know what that means? That means we've got to listen to our great sponsors. We've got a little Veterans Tribute and the weather and more, as they always say, but we always deliver. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. with that great little piece. Our Veterans Tribute, brought to you, as always, by our man John Basiliga, his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. We mentioned the bar restaurants in the first hour, the Old Brook and the Far Street Tavern and the Queen City Tavern. What about fine dining? I mean, literally none better and not a better setting. The two greatest experiences in dining in Northeast Pennsylvania and far beyond, I promise you. A Terra 519, the modern take on that incredible experience. 519 Linden Street, Scranton. It's amazing. And they got a happy hour. Look, if you got a tight budget like I do, you go to the happy hour. $10 for a mixed drink, $6 for a craft beer. Have a couple apps, soak in the atmosphere, and enjoy a Terra 519. Stegmeyer Mansion, an old world take with the same excellence. I love this place. Can't wait to get there again. South Franklin Street, Wilkes-Barre. And don't forget, if you were a relative or a friend wants to do a staycation, or you've got people coming in from out of town, the Fred Stegmeyer Mansion is the premier bed and breakfast in the United States of America. Stanley Perkowski. We lost him May 16th. He was from Kingston. Born in Wilkes-Barre, graduated from Coughlin High School and King's College. He then proudly served all of us in the United States Armed Forces, Air Force. Stanley devoted many years of his professional life working as an accountant for the Unigraphic Color Corporation, Plymouth. He's survived by his wife, Joni Adrian Perkowski. Nieces, nephews, great-nieces, great-nephews, great-great-nieces and nephews, great-great-great-nieces and nephews. Stanley will always be remembered for his gentleness, humor, and jokes. Traveling with his wife, Joni. Stanley Perkowski. Thomas Murph Melvin. I met this guy. We lost him May 24th. He was from South Scranton, resident there his entire life. Survived by his wife of 64 years, Eleanor Donovan Melvin. Born in Scranton. He proudly resided in the family home built in the early 1900s. He was a 1957 graduate of St. Mary's of the Assumption High School and a member of St. Mary's Church prior to its closing. He was a proud U.S. Army veteran. Employed most of his life as a railroad diesel mechanic and engineer for Conrail and Erie-Lackawanna Short Lines. He worked long, hard hours to provide for his family. After retirement, he was employed as a parking lot attendant where everyone knew his name. Most mornings were spent with coffee and stories at his two favorite diners, Chick's and Sharon's. He was a great athlete, excelled in basketball, bowling, a well-liked youth baseball coach at Harmon Field. He enjoyed boxing in the ring, golf. He was a great dancer, the unofficial mayor of Southside. Surviving along with his wife or his 4 children, his grandchildren, tragically lost an infant son, Thomas Murph Melvin. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast. Today, mostly sunny, high 86. Tonight, clear, low 52. Our friends at Montage bringing you this forecast. Partly sunny and very warm on Thursday, high 89, low 57. Friday, mostly sunny and hot. High 91, low 62. You know what to do when it's hot. Excuse me. Saturday, hot with times of sun and clouds, an afternoon thunderstorm on Saturday. High 90, low 65. Sunday, mostly cloudy, not as warm, with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. High 77, low 59. And that's your weather. Perfect for Montage Mountain this weekend and this week. And right now it's 68 degrees at Montage Mountain. Isn't that nice? Love her theme song. Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor, Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. You can reach her at Sotheby's International in Naples or go direct. Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com or any social media. Tina Morocco, your trusted guide to Florida real estate specializing in Southwest Florida. We love her, and she's here live. Hi, Tina.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. So, talk to me. You didn't make any more cookies, did you, since I saw you?
No. The Spumoni cookies were a hit. They were really good.
Oh, quite awesome. Well, what's on your mind today? Talk to me.
So today I want to talk about one of my favorite things to do, starting this time of year, actually. We're getting into rainy season here in Southwest Florida. And one of the fun things to do, if you're visiting or like me, like you just like to do these kind of things, is somewhat of an old Florida thing, is airboat tours.
Oh, neat.
Now, yeah. So our airboat tours in Southwest Florida are in the Everglades. The western part of the Everglades. So if you're in Naples and Marco Island and you keep going south, there's a bunch of different airboat tours that happen here. And the airboat tours, they go through the mangroves. And if you haven't been on an airboat, it's a flat bottom boat with a huge propeller in the back. And it's so loud that you have to have like these earphones, but it kind of buzzes you through the mangroves and everything. And the things that you see are absolutely incredible. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's alligators. So if you're afraid of alligators, this probably isn't the tour for you. But it's also, all of these wading birds, huge birds and storks and manatees, dolphins. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. It's like being live on National Geographic.
That's something I've never done in all the times I've gone to Florida. And there was a show. The listeners will remember the name of it. I cannot at the moment. But there was a show where the cop, it was like a police show of some sort, and the cops rode around in one of those airboats.
Oh, it's so cool. So cool. And a lot of these airboat places also have something called swamp buggy tours. And so another weird thing, this is old Florida. These go back to like the 1930s and the 40s. Swamp buggies are huge. Some of them are about 15 feet tall. They're like ATVs, but like they're meant to like go through the Everglades, go through these big muddy swamps and everything. But they take you on tours, and you're like a lot more elevated than you are on the airboat. So a swamp buggy is kind of like, you're up a little higher, and it's still really a neat experience. And as a matter of fact, if you're here in season, we have swamp buggy parades in Naples. So if you want to see something,
I think I do the swamp buggy also, but because I don't fear the alligator, I fear the alligator's bite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't usually happen, but you just have to. You get pretty close to the alligators, which is interesting.
That is
But
something that you wouldn't even think about. You're right. Like that's an activity. You drive just a little bit from Naples or Southwest Florida, and you could do these things. Amazing.
Yeah, and I will say there are airboat tours all over Florida and swamp buggy tours all over Florida. The ones I'm talking about are the Everglades, but in Arcadia, there's in Charlotte County, there's airboat. That you go through different parts of Florida.
Yeah.
But the Everglades, seeing the Everglades is really something.
Oh, neat.
Totally recommend it.
Well, let's experience the Everglades. The edge is near to Southwest Florida, and you can enjoy it. Tina Morocco, thank you so much as always.
Thanks, Bob.
We're
All right,
always learning. We're always learning. We'll talk to you Friday.
Sure thing.
All right, my dear. Tina Morocco, she is your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. You can reach her at Sotheby's International Realty, Naples, Florida, or go direct. Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com, or on any social media. Look up Tina Morocco. You'll find her. The Rolling Stones. Murph tells us this date, 1972, they moved up to number 6 with their hit Tumbling Dice. My friend attorney John Tarana tells me he started to go to Chicks. That was a hangout of our man Murph Melvin in the summer of '70 with his cousin Charles Infantino. Great sax. What is he? A saxophonist? What was trombonist? And he tells me I was home playing soldier back then. Maybe so, but I hung around Chicks quite a bit because it was 24 hours. So we'd go there after going out, and I still remember my order, my standard order. Sometimes I'd eat more. But I'd get 2 grilled cheese with tomato sandwiches, French fries with gravy, 4 eggs, and toast. And I'd get chocolate milk. I was never a coffee fan. Well, I'll have it a little bit now, but... love Chicks. And it was always buzzing. It didn't matter what time it was. John Toronto points out that Charlie Infantino played the trombone, one of the best in the state. Somebody said, Dear Bob ALTS, I think you might be talking about the show called Carib Force, starring Stacy Keach. That's not ringing a bell. We're talking about the one where there was a show on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is Carib Force, but they drove around in those fan boats around the Everglades. So if anybody knows, let me know. By the way, snowboarder guy, he said the music from the party that Tina threw for her husband's 50th birthday was great. It was their neighbor on Crown Avenue in South Scranton. Snowboarder guy, love it. Cabinet guy says, LTS, can't wait to get to the pool at Naog. Oh, yeah. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. That's our horrible mayor. 90 degrees, it won't be there. Won't be there. Somebody else on Sonny Janelle, the boxer. Sonny Janelle was a West Sider, St. Anne Maronite Lebanese Church. Love that church. But he was from that neighborhood. His brother Gene was a well-known Scranton police detective. How about that? Yeah, we got to, man, it's so great to hear about Sonny Janelle. And I was steeped in the boxing lore. My father always went to the fights. And then, of course, we always followed Jerry Tomasetti wherever he fought. And then succeeding him, Shinzer Sheehan, Paul Simonetti. Yeah, great time. No, cabinet guy, it wasn't Gentle Ben. Really? Maybe it was. Maybe Gentle Ben was the show. The father being a wildlife ranger. It could be what I'm thinking of, cabinet guy. It could be what I'm thinking of. I don't remember Stacy Keach, although I didn't know who Stacy Keach was until he did championship season with Jason Miller. And then, of course, he was a great Mike Hammer. But, okay. So we got Carib Force as a possibility. And somebody else texting in, it was Gentle Ben, where they went around in the airboats. Love them. In any event. Mother Teresa for June 3rd. And Mary making sure I get it done. Let us offer everything to Jesus. Every sorrow, humiliation, discomfort. In this way, you too can take your stand at the foot of the cross with Mary, our mother. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. By the way, Mary Regina praises our girl, Tina Morocco, all the time, helping them find their Florida dream. Love it. And as we approach, you know what time it is. That would be 11 o'clock. My Bacardo Jewelers watch is telling me as I see the sweep hand racing up. But I want to remind you, I'm going to go a little over here. The Bloomsburg American Legion Post and the auxiliary unit, Bloomsburg Elks, Berwick VFW, and a bunch of other veterans clubs and local businesses are hosting the Moving Wall. And that's starting Friday through the 5th through the 7th. And it is going to be at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds at the 5th Street entrance, Gate 8. It's going to arrive on June 4th. Escort of local police and fire departments, Legion riders, motorcycle clubs, all that great stuff. 8:30 a.m. at the Fairfield Marriott in Light Street, Bloomsburg. How great is this? It's going to be an amazing event, an amazing weekend with this moving wall. Great stuff. Chuck from Cordaro, by the way, says they used those fan boats on Miami Vice police show. Chuck, I had never seen it. Well, I never really watched Miami Vice. I don't know why. Somebody else on it, they said the show was the Everglades. It was in the early 60s, Dennis Weaver and some other guy. Okay. Maybe you might be right. Anyway. Somebody says, I saw the 8 pickleball courts, 2 basketball courts where the pool used to be at Naog. On Sunday, they were packed. There was some sort of pool, not filled. And about the 10th the size of the old pool is going to be tough to put 100 people in that. Yeah. The mayor Cognetti said, oh, they use a lot of water. I don't know how she figured that out, but she did somehow. 11:02 on my Picardo Jewelers watch. Let's go to the news with Brian Hughes. Then we'll come back with our man, Bo Dietl, after this. And we're fighting in the trenches with our man Bo Dietl. Great good morning, everyone. It's 11:09 a.m. here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Wednesday, June 3rd, year of our Lord 2026 here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but salute today, thanks to John. Like Brian Covey of Watsontown, Dale Croth of Shikshinny, Stanley Perkowski of Kingston, Thomas Murph Melvin, South Scranton, John Krasowskis, late of California, but he was from Nicholson, and Martin Jarmulowski, Sweet Valley. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment, this meeting, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, and who more to turn to than our man Bo Dietl for common sense. You could hear him on Sid and Friends on WABC every Tuesday morning. And he's got his own podcast, which I follow, which is awesome. Sometimes guests, sometimes he's just telling us like it is. And he's on all kinds of newscasts everywhere. No less than Chaz Palminteri said that he was one of the most interesting people and characters in this country. And he is our man, Bo Dietl. How are you, Bo?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know, I also have my One Tough podcast that people could go on Spotify, anywhere they have podcasts, and you'll have a half hour of things, that little snippets that I send out, and everything I base on facts. This is not, stuff that I make up. And one of the big things, my son just went to London with his friends a couple of weeks ago. They were robbed, and then I talked to other people. They says, you know what happened to my daughter, too? All over Europe. Europe is infested with these radical Muslim garbage cans, robbing and ripping. A lot of people don't know. In Paris, France, a couple of days ago, 900 people were arrested. There were 200 cops that were injured, some of them critical, burning cars down, burning this down. You know, just look at Europe, London, Paris. You can't go to just the Champs-Élysées, Rome, Florence, all over Europe. Why? It was the immigration laws that they just let everybody come. Now even beautiful Spain is letting 1 million of them come into Spain.
My God.
It is the evil destruction floor. But here, let's bring it back home. We got a scumbag, radical Muslim Nader. He wouldn't even march in the Israeli Day Parade. All right, he doesn't like Jewish people. He doesn't like this. He showed him. You know what he did? He was riding around on his custom-made bike, smiling with that face. The story with me and him, it goes back to when I was in the White House about 2 months ago before the war started. I was waiting to go in to see the president. Who comes out of the Oval Office? This scumbag. And I keep using that word, and all he does was smile at me. I put my finger in his face. I said, look, I'm a retired detective. I said, don't F with the cops. And he smiles. I said, I'm not playing with you. Don't F with the cops. He just smiled. He walked away. This is his game. He's got if he wasn't the mayor of New York, he would make a really good pimp, because that's all he is. And everything in the city is being destroyed with this DSA. People don't know. Remember, people listening, DSA will be the downfall of this country. What is the Democratic Socialists of America? These are the candidates that they're running in local, state senate, assembly, and national congressional things. This is a group that is banked on one thing. They want to bring socialism and communism into our country. And when we don't realize what's going, it's like a cancer that's going through a body. We got to chemotherapize these people, but they're winning. They're winning all over the country. And what they were doing over there in New Jersey with my great friends, the Jersey State Troopers. I love them guys. And first of all, that Cheryl there finally came to her senses. what this is all about. There's no hunger strike. These people come from third world countries. They're drinking toilet water. They're eating garbage. And now all of a sudden they have a diet restriction. Some of them are rapists of little children. Some of them committed murders and assaults. And we're worried about their diet. And this was just a subterfuge for them to riot. And guess who shows up? Guess who shows up, Bob? The same scumbags. I go, I'm on Homeland Security Advisory Council.
Yeah.
The same pieces of garbage from Minnesota that was causing all that trouble. They show up with all kinds of super equipment, goggles, helmets, spray, toxic spray. This is all a conspiracy, and it is funded by these rich, liberal people, socialists, and that's what's happening. Now they're there. What they wanted the people from Homeland Security to kill one of these people so they would have another call.
Yeah.
Now they would call for all they are is one thing. They are anti-Trump. No matter what Trump does, they want him out. They are so obsessed with this thing. Why don't we start to realize? And now the greatest city in the world, he put some moron chancellor in there running the schools. We have 1,600 half empty. 1/3 of kids don't go to school. Now he sucked up to the union. He gave them tremendous raises. Where's the money coming from, smiley face? It's taxes, tax the rich. Everybody's moving out of New York City. This is the greatest city in the world. And we got this piece of garbage. And you want to know something? The bad part about it, his approval rating, I think, is about 75%.
But what is the matter with the people in New York? What is the matter with them? I mean, and they're cheering because he's going to tax these second homes. These are the people who are paying the taxes already.
And then what happened is free buses went by the wayside, and then all of a sudden his free food. Then he wants to open up a grocery store. They estimate it'll be $60 million to open up a grocery store that he wants up in East Harlem. This guy hasn't a clue. He never ran anything. He comes from a wealthy family from Uganda, same place where Idi Amin were eating people. That's where he came from. And I told him, and I say to him over and over again, you like Uganda? Go back to Uganda. Stay out of my city. He knows, now all of a sudden he's a Knicks fan. He doesn't even know what a basketball net is, this punk. And you know what's going to be bad? I hope when the president comes on Monday, I think he's going to come see a Knicks game. I hope that scumbag mayor is not going to be with him. I still don't understand why my president is even giving him the time of day. All he is a socialist communist. And you know what he wants? He wants America to turn into be a communist socialist country. And people, be aware. They're running these DSA candidates all over the place. One of them just won over there in Jersey for the congressional seats. There's 3 DSA congressional people running New York City, all supported by Mundummy, and they're all DSA strength. And part of their whole thing is against America. They're against America the way we know it. Capitalism, hard work equals success. They don't believe that. No, when you worked hard, give it away. Now they got some proposals to take people's apartments from the landlords if they don't fix your pipes. Then you can and then they're going to give it to the nonprofits. Nonprofits we're talking about. Now, we have a nonprofit in New York City with these morons, ex-criminals run. They're violence interrupters all over the city. They're spending $100 million a year. One of them was locked up on 2 murders. He slashed somebody in the face, one of the leaders. And you know what? When the cops came to investigate, we don't talk to police. This is what's going on. We're paying criminals to stop gun violence. Not one gun has come off the street. The violence is still going on. This is such nonsense. Then he's got a new one. I think it's about $5.2 million, a office of propaganda, where he wants to put these DSA people out there. They pull the votes. This doesn't stop in New York.
And you mentioned nonprofits and NGOs who so much of New York City's budget flows through, at least $20 billion, and they become the stormtroopers for the next group of socialists to get elected.
Absolutely. They could tell them that we could deliver these votes. They knock on people's doors. They pull them out. You're going to get free stuff. And the one that comes to mind was Big Bird de Blasio with his, I'm not going to call her. I'm not going to call her ugly. I'm going to call what she was ugly, okay? Because I don't want to offend any woman. What she did was ugly, and what they did was they took $1 billion, and it's called Operation Thrive. They put $1 billion into these quote unquote profits and all that. So last night was really fun. I was out. I went to Casa Cipriani, and I'm there with my lovely wife Margot. And all of a sudden, in the back, I didn't even know he was there. He sees me, and he runs out of the restaurant.
Who, de Blasio?
Eric.
Oh.
Eric the thief. Eric the thief Adams. Because he tried to get me involved with them. They had $7 billion in these funds. This is when Eric Adams was welcoming the buses, giving water to the migrants.
Mm-hmm.
Come to New York, Then they get the Roosevelt Hotel, no RFP, no bid, $12 million a week. Half the toilets didn't work. They stuffed people. The security contracts, they came to me and said, Bo, we want you to do security, but you got to charge 3 times the amount. Normally it's like $37, $38 for an unarmed one. We want you to charge $119, but you'd have to kick back 20% to a consultant firm in Texas. I said, get out of my office. And this punk mayor, because he's a thief, and now all of a sudden they gave him a pardon, the president. I don't know what that's about. But also, he just became a Albanian citizen. I'm wondering, is there an extradition policy? No, seriously. He became an Albanian. He said, why? Well, all I know is when he sees me, he runs the other way. And you don't know me that long. I fear no man.
Well, I know
and
that.
I tell you, right in his place, he presented himself as being a former cop. He was on the force for 20 years. All he caused was problems. He was the originator of a group called 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement. And then when the cops would lock somebody up, they would interview him. Oh, did he use too much? Or did he hurt you when he put the handcuffs on? This scumbag ex-mayor was never a cop, a real cop. He made 4 arrests in 20 years. I made 4 arrests in half an hour.
Bo Dietl, tell me, well, I mean, can New York survive? Because we went Big Bird, we went Eric Adams, who you're just talking about, and now we've got Mom Dummy. Can New York City survive? What's the outlook? You're Mr. New York City.
I hate to say this, but I think we were doing better with Mondummy and the pandemic than we are doing today.
Yeah. Because this is a man who truly hates what New York City is.
I just love this city so much, and it's going down the tube so fast. And then they have these, he refuses to stop these motorcycles and motorbikes. Yeah, motorcycles, motorbikes, no license plates, no license, no insurance. They're going to kill people. They drive in and out on sidewalks, and nobody, he already told the cops, back off them, don't bother them.
And he didn't go to the induction of the Archbishop of New York. Never mind, and then the Israeli parade.
Would you think he would go?
Yeah.
He was doing the Alibaba. Then he showed up at some other affair with his Alibaba robes there. Yeah. Bull crap. Yeah.
Well, Bo, we're happy we have you fighting for us. It gives us a chance to save the world's greatest city, but they are doing their best to destroy it. Mm.
Oh, I tell you what, Bob, the people that are listening to you, please understand. This is the eve of destruction, what they're doing from within. And a lot of people don't remember. I'm a big World War II history buff. There's a great series, World War II, narrated by Tom Hanks. But I remember talking to one of my dear friends, Felix Brinkman. He was a survivor of Auschwitz. They killed him at 94 years old. They beat him to death, the scumbags. But he would tell me stories in the 1930s, after the late 20s into the 30s. After World War I, they demoralized all the German people when United States, France, and England had World War I, that all of a sudden it was a ripe time for this little scumbag Hitler to come into play with nationalism and the honor to be a German. And that's what happened. This guy fit into the timing so perfect, this little moron piece of garbage, that the people believed in. Even my friend Felix, who was Jewish ancestry, they found out about that. They put him in a ghetto first, then they put him in the concentration camp in Auschwitz, 5 years. And he said to me, I followed him. I wore a brown shirt. I followed Hitler because he was making us feel proud about being German. This is how the answers infest. And then you put a psychopath like Hitler in, and believe me, it's coming to the United States of America, these socialist communists, and don't trust Iran. I don't believe a friggin' thing. We got to go in there and we got to put them into the Stone Age. I told that to the president about 2 months ago. He said,
Good.
"Do you think we should go in?" I said, "Yeah." And then he went in the next day. But now we should not let up. We cannot trust them. And we didn't take out 85% of their missiles. Watch and see. I'm not a smart guy, but I know a little bit. They got a lot more equipment there to hit our bases and hit those Gulf. This is not going away. When you got a bully, and a crazy bully, what do? A crazy dog, a mad dog biting everybody. You take them out, and
Yeah.
that's what we got to do.
Got to finish the job over there. That's good advice. Bo Dietl, thank you as always, my friend. We look forward to talking to you again. Hold it down in New York for us, would you please?
All right, Bobby. I'm
All
talking to you,
right,
buddy.
man. Thank you. Bo Dietl. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Paul McCartney and Wings. Murph says this date, 1974, the number one hit with Band on the Run. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Somebody takes in Bob LTS and Bo Dietl, but he was on your show endorsing Eric Adams not long ago. I mean, it was years ago. Somebody said, I text you then about Eric Adams, about the 100 blacks in law enforcement and his history as a rabble-rouser. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Bo came around on two things. One was Donald Trump, but the other was Eric Adams. I met Eric Adams at Bo Dietl's Christmas party. Great guy in terms of personality. And by the way, when you compare him to Mom Dummy, a much better mayor, as corrupt and everything as he was. But yeah, no, but look at Bo will reverse course if he sees something different. And that's to his credit. So, but you know, I'm happy you pointed that out. But no, just craziness in New York City. And we're going to play a little clip about this guy who just won the Democrat primary in New Jersey. He was like friends with the 1993 World Trade Center bombers. The sheikh who strategized the whole thing. That's crazy. And we're electing these people. Who are the idiots? And by the way, if you're voting Democrat, you're voting or thinking you're going to vote for like people like Paige Cognetti and Shapiro, this is who they support. You're giving them the leash that they need to move forward. They're all in this together. Don't let nobody, look at the clown up in Maine. Nobody's disavowed him yet. Nobody. There's an actual Hitler SS supporter. You don't hear anything about, you don't hear any Democrat talking about Hitler. He's a pervert. He's on sex sites with young people. He's talking about pleasuring himself in Job Johnnies. He's sick. He attacked our own Teddy Daniels for his bravery and surviving 4 gunshot wounds, Purple Heart recipient. Chris Kyle. This is a sick bastard. And none of them are disavowing him. When you vote Democrat, this is what you're voting for. Lunatic leftists and Islamists. The same people who ran the image campaign for Mom Dummy are running it for Paige Cognetti. They're the same. And they will lie and they will say anything to win. And then they'll do exactly what the lunacy of the left calls for. Scary. Just a quick quote before we go to break and our Veterans Tribute. Senator Rand Paul nails it. He said, Democrats love whistleblowers unless they're blowing the whistle on Fauci. The cover-up is unraveling. The Democrats would rather look away than admit their saint lied to America. And that's not the only issue. My gosh. This has become a disgraceful, sickening political party. Period. That's the Democrats of today. The only Democrat talking any sense is John Fetterman, the stroke victim, and they're going to drum him out of the party for telling the truth. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back with our Veterans Tribute. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, dutifully, proudly, patriotically, brought to you by a great patriot by the name of John Basiliga. Each day we feature one of his companies. Well, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, since we head to the weekend. We talk about Basiliga hospitality. I'm going to check out a movie, Scranton Art House, downtown Scranton. The best place and voted the best place to watch a movie. Have your favorite drink, adult or otherwise, and your favorite food delivered right to your chair, watching the movies, and a comfortable seat they are. 3 great bar restaurants, Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township, the Queen City Tavern, downtown Elephant, and the Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Fine dining, the best anywhere. A Terra 519 downtown Scranton and the Stegmeyer Mansion downtown Wilkes-Barre, the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Brian Covey, a proud veteran who enjoyed fishing and antique cars. He was from Watsontown. We lost him May 10th. Born in Clinton, Kentucky, he was a 1967 graduate of Christiana High School, Newark, Delaware. He served all of us in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War and later enlisted in the Air National Guard, retiring after 20 years of proudly serving his country. He was a plumber by trade, working at Amtrak in Bear, Delaware for 31 years. Member of the Friendship Baptist Church in Watsontown. He loved fishing, collecting coins, antique cars, especially the classic Studebaker. He'll be greatly missed by his loving wife of 29 years, Margaret Kendrick Covey, his daughter, his son, a stepson, 5 cherished grandchildren, and 3 adored great-grandchildren. Brian Covey. Dale Croth. His family says he passed into the arms of his Savior Friday, May 1st, 2026. Born and raised in Chick-Shinny, Dale was a proud Navy veteran. He loved flower gardening. That was where he had many adventures with his brothers, Jay and Noel. Dale joined the United States Navy, serving from 1952 to 1956 during the Korean conflict. A sonar seaman aboard the USS Mindoro. In 1954, he married the love of his life, Fern Soberek. A year and a half later, their beautiful baby girl, Lynn, was born. They returned to Berwick and opened Fern and Dale's Diner while he attended Bloomsburg State's Teachers College. He obtained a BS in math and history and a master's in education. He loved fishing, playing cards, community service, and traveling the world for the 68 years he was together with his precious wife. Member of the Berwick School Board, where he served as president. Life member of the National Pennsylvania Education Association. Board of Directors at Bloomsburg University. Member of the Bloomsburg University Alumni Board, First Baptist Church, East Berwick, Hose Company, Chick-Shinny American Legion, and more. A proud veteran. Preceded in death by his wife for 68 years, the former Fern Soberek. Survived by his daughter. He's also survived by sisters, a brother-in-law, and many other family members. Dale Croth. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality Group. The AccuWeather forecast brought to you by the great gang at Montage Mountain, where the water park is happening. It's time for summer. Today, mostly sunny. High of 86, 74 degrees at Montage right now. Tonight, clear, low 52. Tomorrow, partly sunny, very warm, high 89, low 57. Friday, mostly sunny and hot, caution advised if doing strenuous activities. High 91, low 62. Saturday, hot with times of sun and clouds, an afternoon thunderstorm, high 90, low 65. Sunday, mostly cloudy, not as warm. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm, 77 degrees, low of 59. And that's your weather, brought to you by the great gang and the whole summer fun at Montage Mountain. And it's a Picardo's watch, no doubt about it. And here he is, our man Alex Picardo. How are you, brother?
Good morning. What's going on?
Well, first of all, congratulations. Your kid graduated the preschool, and that was a great little event. And I love that they started off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I thought that was fabulous.
Yeah, Perry's does a great job, and it's sad everyone's getting older quick.
I know.
Really quick.
Oh, your father and I were the grandparents, and then my father and mother were there, so we had great grandparents in attendance.
I told you, we should have set up the show right there. It would have been a great day.
You're right. Well, speaking of all of that, Father's Day approaching. Talk to me about what Bacardo's has on tap.
Father's Day's approaching quick. Again, our new line has just arrived, ball watches. Just in time for the big boy train, and it's a Steamtown watch, and it's a new line that we put in.
Neat.
I have a lot of graduates, younger kids now, getting into watches. I have something for everyone here. Again, Father's Day, graduation, everything's coming up, so we got everything new in for you guys.
Wow. That's it. Tell us about the ball watches. I mean, you guys...
Well, ball watches are known for a Steamtown watch. I've been talking back and forth with the owner for actually almost 2 years, and we decided to bring them in, and they're known for their luminescence. These literally glow in the dark. They're absolutely beautiful. They make a million different models, and not that I should say anything, but we might be in works for a special watch that will only be sold at Picardo Jewelers because of the Steamtown group, and it's going to be a very cool, very limited edition watch, something that is my idea through their ideas together, remembering my grandfather and Steamtown, where we have our business in the lovely city of Scranton that we've been here for 100 years. So we have a lot of things in the works.
I get a lot of people asking me about Bacardo's because of our Picardo Jewelers watch time, and they ask two questions. Number one is, and it's maybe more of a comment, which I correct them on. I can't afford anything in there.
Yeah, no, I hear that a lot because, you go by in our building, we keep it up to date. I remodel all the time. We try to keep it up, but that doesn't mean that's passed on to my customer. We have something for everybody, and I say that a lot, but I stress that because it's true. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel like you can't afford anything in my store. I have prices from $100 and up, maybe even less. I have kids' jewelry starting at $30 and up. We do in-house financing. We make it physically possible for anyone to afford what we carry and to give a gift that's of high quality. The biggest thing is we stand behind everything. And if my manufacturers won't, I do. And I pride myself with that, and I think that's why I'm still here after all this time. But never feel like that.
Alex Picardo's, again, you're known for watches, obviously. But what are the primary gifts people are looking for Father's Day?
Honestly, watches is a huge one, and that even goes for graduation. It's a watch says something to give it to a little man. Even a little girl graduating into a father, it reminds you of the time that goes by. We could engrave them. I'm doing that as we speak. But we represent much more. We have necklaces, chains, jewelry lines, engagement lines, whatever you think, we have it. And if I don't have it, I'll get it in for you.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Alex Picardo Jewelers. We always know what time it is there. No doubt about it. And we thank you. And
thank you, guys.
Maybe we could talk again later this week. All right, man?
You just give me a call. I'm here. Lots coming, guys. Thank you.
All right. Alex Picardo, he is always there. I promise you. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. It's almost endless, the disgrace that Joe Biden has heaped upon this area. And to capitalize on that disgrace, the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association, against all morality, against all common sense, erected a hometown hero banner designed for veterans and to honor their service. Joe Biden dodged service. So not only is he a fool, not only is he corrupt, not only is he an embarrassment, he's not a veteran. And the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association, that disgraceful organization, continues with the Biden banner disgrace. Stolen valor. Day 170. Yuck. All right, in our last minute here, let's try to go to Greg from Scranton. We got about a minute, my man. Fire away.
Okay, this is Greg. We know a lot of people come in. Anyway, that program was Lincoln Vale of the Everglades.
Lincoln Vale of the Everglades. Why is that not ringing a bell?
I don't know. The other one that could have been was Flipper, where the sheriff right around. But it was definitely Lincoln Vale of the Everglades in the early 60s.
All right. So
I remember watching it.
And we'd watch it. Wasn't that like exotic, those fan boats? Wasn't they exotic? It was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool when they raced around it. But anyway, I had to call in and tell you because you were hanging by a thread. I think we have a lot of same friends in common.
Guaranteed.
So,
Guaranteed.
I'm one of the guys up at Montage. So anyway.
Love it. Well,
All
listen,
right, man.
I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you so much. You bailed because we didn't have a definitive answer till the very end of the show. We needed you.
Okay. Good talking to you, man. I'll keep listening.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There we go. I said if you can't get an answer out of this audience, you can't get an answer out of anybody. This is one of the smartest audiences, one of the most experienced group of people, this huge dysfunctional family. Hey, as we come to the end, we want to thank Roach Supply. 75 years in business, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. RoachSupply.com, ROCHE. And Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. You can reach her. She is your trusted guide for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. That's Tina Morocco, Muracco. Reach her at tinamorocco.com or any social media. She'll tell you what to do and give you just the right guidance. Well, we're finishing with Neil Diamond in tribute to the Joe Nardone show that was so successful on Sunday afternoon. Murph says this date, 1972, had the number one adult charts hit with Song Sung Blue. It is noon on my Picardo Jewelers watch. That means I've got to go. Sue Henry show next. Rob O'Donnell after that. For now, however, I've got to say adios and gavel to a close today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, hoping and wishing, God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning. Have a great afternoon, guys. We are adjourned.